Hello, and welcome to the YCHYFUS Kung Fu podcast with me, Darren Jones, and him,
Clive Davis, and
yes,
YouTube. In fact, still YouTube. So
yeah.
So luckily you've combed your hair, Darren. You look wonderful.
I do. I went to the hair salon today.
Right.
To put tangles in my hair.
As you can tell, I did as well, which is why my bonce is looking so fine.
Yeah. You notice in the background that I've made my studio, my recording studio, into a laundry. So this year is a drying unit for clothing. And if you pay attention, just in that corner there, you will see some clothing waiting to be put away.
Nice.
So this is the slice of life that is the YCHYFUS.
You don't get this anywhere else. It's like a combination between, it's you got your Kung Fu fandom, but with a bit of Mike Lee and Ken Loach thrown in.
We're very much a kitchen sink podcast.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we're going to do tonight, we are going to, as requested by our good friend of the podcast, Mr. Chris Evans.
Yes.
Not Captain America and not annoying bloke with glasses from TFI Friday. The real Chris Evans.
Yes, the original from OG Chris Evans.
Exactly, from the northeast of England. Good man he is. He has given us a request to do a Ramon Zamora double bill. And we're bloody doing it.
Yeah.
So tonight, dear listeners, we are having a double bill of Ramon Zamora's Game of Death from 1974.
Let me stop you there, Darren. I
think here we go.
You pronounced that wrong, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah. It's the Game of Death! Because it's got an exclamation mark. Actually,
sorry.
On the credit, which is unusual. You get exclamation marks in advertising quite often, but you don't always get it on the actual print. No,
true. Also, I in my defense on Game of Death, I was actually thinking of the...
What was that?
Well, no, I'm going to explain to you now.
Okay.
If you let me.
Now,
in my defense.
Just talk over the top here.
Well, you can try.
No, Nick's not here.
No, exactly. Yeah, I know. We haven't got anyone to bully.
Yeah.
And neither one of us are receptive to the other's bullying tactics.
No, it doesn't really work on either of us.
It just doesn't work.
Actually, I'm watching back our recent show where we did bully. I was actually slightly ashamed. We did bully Nick. I mean, that was proper picking on someone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but the thing is because he's so receptive and doesn't get upset about it.
Yeah, he's a good bloke.
Exactly, he's a great bloke. But because he lets it flow over him, it's like an encouragement for us to escalate the violence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically it's blaming the victim.
We are gaslighting Nick.
Yes. Hello, Nick.
Without him even being on the podcast.
Hope you're enjoying this episode.
Hello, Nick.
All right.
Hello. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, you didn't see this podcast at all. You imagined it.
Yeah, no, we're just
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
We didn't do a podcast on Ramon Zamora.
You're losing it.
No, that's not what you're talking about. Anyway, so I have completely lost the thread. Oh yes, on the pronunciation of the Game of Death.
Yes.
Now I'll explain to you why I'm pronouncing it my way. Is because rather than taking my cue from the exclamation point, I'm actually taking my cue from the very catchy theme tune to Game of Death.
Yes.
Beware the Game of Death.
I quite like the theme tune. Especially
I like that.
It swerves it turns into a James Bond theme after a while, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it does the Game of Death bit and then it goes da-da-da, da-da-da, and then
Yeah, no, that's something that links both films actually. apart from the obvious, is actually they've both got surprisingly decent soundtracks for the budget.
Right.
They're basic soundtracks, but certainly Game of Death.
They're not stolen. That's the thing as well. They actually have original soundtracks.
Yeah, they seem to be bespoke to the film, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, yes.
Yeah.
So it's Game of Death from 1974, and then they call him CHOP-SUEY from 1975. Both starring
Ramon,
dancer, come comedian, come Bruce Lee alike, Ramon Zamora from the Philippines.
Yeah, very. A very busy man as well. Been in a whole shitload of films over the years. I think I've only ever seen one other one, Revenge of the Dragon, I think, which was not bad.
Well, I was trying to think.
Sorry,
which Ramon.
I was going to say he did do The Dragon, the Lizard, the Boxer, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Which isn't that good, but
no, it's worth a watch. But it's not.
Yes,
yeah, it's not. It's not.
Weird stunt. There's like isn't there a bit like near the end where there's like a fire or something, and someone's up some trees over a fire, and it looks quite dangerous.
Because there's some. Yeah, well, again, it's the Filipino influence, isn't it, on filmmaking? Just zero health and safety.
Yeah.
But so he's quite an interesting fella, is Ramon Zamora.
I would definitely be. I mean, we'll talk about these two films, the merits of them, but just in general, yes, I'm up for watching more Ramon Zamora, but I don't think there's that much that is English friendly.
No, because I really want to see his comedy stuff, because that's the interesting thing. So he starts off as kind of a dancer, like a dance hall kind of dancer kind of person.
Lionel Blair of the Philippines.
He is the Lionel Blair of the Philippines.
I'm sure he was on the Tagalog version of what the fuck is that show called? What's My Clue? What's my Give Us a Clue.
Give Us a Clue. Yeah. So today we're going to watch
a film, and I'm going to three syllables. Sound like.
Yes. So so he starts off as a dancer, and then he gets a gig on a TV comedy show.
Yes.
Being some sort of buffoon, and I really want to see some of his comedy show stuff.
Well, apparently his most famous thing was he did a Hitler lookalike.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For decades.
Right. Yes. And it's called something like Super Laughing Show or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like a sketch kind of. I'm imagining something. I don't know, Morecambe and Wisey, or maybe not even that good.
But it's like, from what I've read, it's like he starts off, being one of the other Morecambe and Wise, presumably Morecambe, the funny one. And then
on that, but yeah.
No, I'm up for saying Eric Morecambe's funny, because that's funny.
That is funny, but other than that, that might be enough.
Yeah.
I'm up for saying that it's funny objectively.
Yeah. Although I will say that sketch that Morecambe and Wise do, where they're making breakfast and they have like orange slices and they're singing with the orange slices, and you see that fucking everywhere whenever Morecambe and Wise are discussed.
Right.
That is objectively not funny.
Right.
And if you subscribe to this podcast and think that is funny, please unlike. Please just unsubscribe.
Just leave the room quietly. Pack up your things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We wish you well. We wish you well in whatever life brings you.
Yeah.
But please fuck off of our podcast.
Right. Yeah, we can afford to do that, right? We got millions.
Yeah, thousands, hundreds of thousands of listeners we got. But anyway, yeah, so presumably kind of starts off as kind of a Morecambe Wise thing, and then kind of is still doing the same shtick by the time we get to Noel's house party.
Right.
You know, like he's still doing the same shtick in his comedy stuff.
It's funny, even if I didn't know that, just from watching him, you can tell there's something a bit funny about him. Like he does look funny, doesn't he? Like he's difficult to seriously as a like he makes more sense as a Jackie Chan clone than a Bruce Lee clone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Face. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I agree he's got a funny face, but as Bruce Lee clones go, he's doing a decent job.
Yes, he's up there with Bruce Lee, isn't he? In terms of like, yeah,
and I think that's the parallel. So if you've never seen a Ramon Zamora film before, and you're going to rush out and see everything Bruce Lee like from Ramon Zamora's ever done, then make sure you bring yourself down to the level of Bruce Lee. Don't go expecting any.
Yeah, in terms of just like the imitation stuff, like it's quite good. Like if it's something you respect, someone kind of imitating someone, you know, they do quite a good job of doing all that and
all the hands.
Yeah. But you know, see, this is the thing with both of these films. We'll get into this, but I think it's difficult to judge. I mean, clearly the man is in good physical condition and he can do shit. But because the thing with the Philippines is the Philippines have lots of crazy stuntmen who will jump off of cliffs and things for your entertainment and kill themselves. But I'm not sure if they have quite the infrastructure in terms of carefully crafted fight choreographers. So Ramon Zamora might be very, very good and capable, but there's the action in these films is pretty much kind of bashery stuff, isn't it? As opposed to
I mean, I'd put it 1% above basher level.
Yes.
You know, because there's a little bit of undercranking here and there.
Yes, because you could see the palm trees flying.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they have to do it in a forest or in like an arena with flags flapping about, don't they?
But it's a shame in a way that he didn't get to do anything in Hong Kong beyond the Dragon, the Lizard, the Boxer, because it would be interesting to see him with choreographies that telling him what you can imagine he would have been. He would have risen to the occasion, right? So
well, I mean, because he certainly, you know, maybe it's the talent available for because we have to remember that these are local productions as well, so these aren't necessarily or primarily anyway designed for export. You know, presumably these are local. This is local product.
Yeah,
although Ramon Zamora's doing.
Although both of these are probably in the wider scope, they're probably they're slightly less localized than. I mean, I get the feeling that they did have an eye on the international market because they don't push. There's not too much in the way of like really flying over your head Filipino comedy that you get in some of these films.
No. And you hear a mention of Manila, but it could be anywhere.
Yeah,
you know, they're trying to make it international.
Yeah, but just to finish my thought, sorry, the reason I brought up the choreography was just because you shouldn't expect that if you're doing the Bruce Lee comparison thing, because as we talked about before, you can have a go at Bruce Lee as much as you like, but some of the action in some of Bruce Lee's films is very fine indeed.
Yes, good point. Good point. But I'm talking into. I was more talking in terms of general feel.
Yes, and
particularly budget.
Yes. That's yeah. They're not. Neither of these are quite. I mean, there might be other gems lurking in the Zamora filmography, but also neither one of these is quite as out and out batshit weird as some Bruce Lee films are, right?
And that's part of the problem. There's something in there, there's something in each one.
Yeah,
that's a nice little bit of weirdness that keeps you entertained. But generally speaking, we're talking low budget films with a decent amount of action, but also quite a lot of filler.
Yeah,
between the action in general.
Yeah, and there's nothing quite as head scratching as I can't remember which one it is, but the one I always remember for some reason, there's a Bruce Lee film, which might actually be shot in the Philippines. Yeah, where there's this whole extended sequence where the bad guys pick on a fat man eating an ice cream in front of an ice cream van and start pulling down his throat.
Oh, yeah, another one.
Like, what the hell has this got to do with it?
Yeah.
At all.
It's a long sequence.
Yeah. There's none of that spicy weirdness.
No. Although I think in the first one, we may as well get to it now because I think we've kind of vaguely said our Ramon Zamora intro, but I think as far as the game of death, that's fine. That's fine. It's both, equal opportunities.
Yes, yeah. We're
some people like the game of death. Some people like
the game of death. I'm not quite sure where to put the emphasis. Also, it's in court match as well, if I remember correctly, on the credits.
Yeah. Chris, we'd be very interested to know what your preference is.
Yes, let us know.
Please write in and tell us.
Anyone else has a thought on this?
Yeah. We could even do a poll. I think you can do polls on YouTube, can you? Can you do like a poll?
You can do all sorts of shit on there.
Well, let's see if we can do a poll.
It's a playground.
Anyway, so let's create a smorgasbord of options.
Mark my words, it's going to be big as well. It's going to be popular, that YouTube, in a few years.
YouTube, it's growing, isn't it? Yeah, it's a young format, but I think big things are coming for YouTube. Yeah. So anyway, the game of death.
Game of death. That's going to get annoying.
I think it has certain elements in it, front and center.
Yeah.
That I found quite entertaining in a very kind of, and all I could think about when I was watching it was Al Adamson.
Yes.
So
it's a bit Death Dimension or Black Samurai or something.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's standard Enter the Dragon ripoff.
To be fair, it is a better. We should be fair here. It is a better film than Death Dimension.
It is. Well, I haven't seen Death Dimension for a long time.
Doesn't have a long sequence of tortoise eating grapes, and
if I remember rightly, the opening action scene of Death Dimension is a tortoise eating some grapes.
And who can forget the freeze bomb, right? Which is a thing of great.
Yes.
The freeze bomb scenes. Yeah, there's nothing. Again, I suppose that fits into the category of there's no super weird spice here, right?
No, exactly. Although I do like, I can't remember his name, but the Count, the baddie, the big bard of
you mean
Death. The
Colonel
Count.
von Stoffler?
Oh, that's him.
Stoffler, yeah,
that's him.
I tell you, this is a few years away. It hadn't happened yet, but I was getting very strong Jim Jones vibes off Eddie Garcia as Colonel von Stoffler. He's like,
you're not wrong there.
He's like Jim Jones as played by Ricardo Montalban or Cesar Romero.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Yeah, it's like, because it's like, and even, you know, and it's like a mashup. So this film is like a mashup of 3 elements, right? So it's Enter the Dragon, right? Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tragedy that was
Guyana,
Jim Jones.
or Eaten Alive or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And The Love Boat.
Yes. And most.
I'm thinking maybe mainly musically on the theme thing, but
right.
if you were gonna
soon we'll be thinking and yeah. Well, so we should mention as well. So despite the title, it is, yeah, like you said, it is not a Game of Death ripoff. It's an Enter the Dragon ripoff. And the second film we were talking about, despite the title, is The Way of the Dragon ripoff.
Yeah.
But so this came out 74, early 74, right? So the Game of Death. Well, obviously Bruce Lee had died the previous year, so all original production had been done, but Game of Death didn't come out.
It didn't come out
until 1978, right?
No.
Which nowadays that seems insanely long. Like that wouldn't take so long nowadays, right? 5 fucking years.
Well, I mean, it's like The Crow, I suppose, is the nearest example, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, but that.
So when Brandon Lee died on The Crow, it would. What was it? I don't know. Like, what was the delay? Like 3 or 6 months, or something. You know? Yeah.
But it was interesting because I wasn't sure, because the thing is there was even before, obviously, Bruce Mania and all that, there would have been talk of, you know, coming soon, you know, the new Bruce Lee film, and you would have, you know, articles about it and stuff. But I'm not 100% sure if the title had been set as early as 1970. So if they were knowingly ripping off, because the other thing as well. So the other thing we should say is, I
mean, it's too much of a coincidence that they spontaneously came up with the title of The Game of Death or Game of Death.
The other thing that I posit this though is possibly, and this could also be just a coincidence as well, or deliberate. So the thing is, especially in the final reel, this film turns into The Most Dangerous Game as well, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I wrote in my notes. Yeah.
And the first official remake of The Most Dangerous Game from 1945 was Game of Death. So I'm just wondering, in some ways, if someone involved in this production might have seen Game of Death on telly, and because you could rip off Game of Death without having seen Most Dangerous Game.
Fair play.
So I don't know.
Fair play. No. I hadn't thought of that at all. And I mean, if it's true, if no. Yeah, it's more likely that they knew the title. It's more likely that they knew the title of Game of Death, the forthcoming Game of Death, and then referred to the 1945 Game of Death.
But what's interesting to me, though, is, let's say, for instance, if it was a direct, what I can't figure out is if it is a direct rip-off of the Game of Death, and they went so far as to call it the Game of Death, why didn't they just rip off the Game of Death? Why didn't they have the pagoda thing? And because that would have been known, right, what the plot was. Why did they do it?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, don't forget though, we're kind of on snail mail, 1973, 1974 time year, aren't we? So, you know, it depends. It depends what's in the Philippines, doesn't it? You know, it depends what media is in the Philippines.
How would they come across the title of the production enough to rip it off, but not be aware of anything else to include elements?
Yeah, well, I mean, they may have seen, they may have released, it would be a very interesting scholarly exercise for someone, listeners, you know, someone to see, you know, what advertisements were out there internationally for Game of Death.
Right.
Coming soon, Game of Death, picture of Bruce Lee in his yellow jumpsuit, right? Maybe the pagoda in the background, right? Because you can see an advertisement, you know, like a, you know, poster ad for Game of Death, which you would see before any plot details came out. So, you know, it would be interesting to see what media was available
who knows? We might even find out that the original working title for Game of Death in the Philippines was they call him CHOP-SUEY. Now that would be
that'd be Way of the Dragon, surely.
That would be turned up for the books. But it's interesting that thinking about it that way as well, because I'd never thought about this before. But I suppose you can put the original Enter the Dragon in that continuum of Most Dangerous Game rip-offs as well.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Although there's only really a chase, in the last 20, 30 minutes.
Well, same here though, isn't it?
Enter the Dragon.
It's only
but but I mean the whole thrust. Yeah, but the whole thrust is trophies. Okay, but the whole thrust of Most Dangerous Game and Game of Death 45 is, human hunting, isn't it? That's the whole thing, isn't it?
Not forget Hard Target as well, Darren.
There we are.
What's the one with Ice-T? Was it called Surviving the Game? Was that the one?
Oh, yeah.
Gary Busey in it, maybe as well. There's shitloads.
Well, it was the 90s, so yes.
Yeah, so Gary Busey was.
Gary Busey was, yeah. Endemic, he was.
Yes.
So anyway, so that's an interesting thing to posit. So anyway, plot-wise, we should probably go into by now. So our mate Ramon, who is Charlie Lee in this. Yeah. He's an undercover operative for, is it the CIA or someone?
They don't say, they just say the Philippine government. It's him and...
Oh, that's it. Sorry, it's the Manila government, isn't it?
And his manager, Panchito Alba, right? Who I guess is supposed to be comic relief, but
he's not funny and he doesn't do any jokes.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing is one thing to have an unfunny comic relief, but he doesn't even really put... Now and again, there's he'll do something about trying to distract the guy by giving him fried chicken or something like that. But there's not as much as you might expect. They've really soft pedaled but my guess would be, generally, I don't know anything about this Panchito Alba guy, but I'm guessing in general he's probably hilarious comic relief in other films, right?
I'm not convinced of that.
No?
I'm not sure. No. Because the vibe I was getting off him was more cool, possibly past his prime movie star vibe, rather than anything comic relief. Because he looks a bit, if anyone's seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show, he looks a bit like that character that Meatloaf plays in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I can't remember. It's been a
so he's like a slightly chunky man with an Elvis kind of hairstyle, isn't he? He's got this big kind of rocker Elvis hairstyle.
He's a bit John Ashley.
Yeah. That's a better way to describe it. Yeah, but yeah, he just doesn't do a lot, does he? He has a few conversations at the start, and then in the middle, and then he disappears throughout most of the action scenes, and then he takes down the main henchman at the end.
Yeah, that's
his job in the whole film.
If I was Agent Charlie Lee, I think I would request a different partner for future missions. Was a bit more useful.
Exactly, yeah. He does manage to bring a gun on the island, and he does shoot someone.
Right.
But he waits until right at the end of the film to do anything useful whatsoever.
But anyway, so they are on Von...
It is Hans Island.
Island. And it turns out they're on the lookout for some kidnapped socialites. Right, so there's basically 4 beautiful women who have been kidnapped, including Evangeline Pascal, who was 1973's Philippines Miss World entry.
Does a good job.
Yeah, well, I like it. So apparently, the Miss World that she was a runner-up in, so the woman who won, Marjorie something. The first American to have won Miss World, and the first Miss World to have had her title revoked when it turned out she was having an affair with Tom Jones.
Oh, there we are.
So there we go. So apparently the next, it wasn't her, it was someone else had retroactively became Miss World 1973, because the original Miss World was
so she missed it. She missed losing out and becoming the runner-up Miss World. Yes. And then Miss World. Just by just a year.
Yes. Because of Tom Jones and his cock.
Yeah. Well, I do feel my national pride swelling a bit when I hear about Tom Jones's prolific cock.
Right. Yeah, no, he got about a bit.
From the early 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, but I think she does a good job, actually. I mean, she does a bit of foo here and there. Character's quite interesting in that, you know, she's kind of holds her own as a kind of fighter. You know, she does a lot of undercover skullduggery on Hans Island. My
favourite one, just in terms of, I thought she was the cutest, was the one who dies first. Linda, I think her name is. She's the one.
Oh, yeah.
Crossbow in when it turns most dangerous game at the end.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty much Enter the Dragon.
Yes. Yeah.
On a shoestring.
Yeah.
It's complete with.
Sorry, just to emphasize the shoestring. So there's like, if you remember in Enter the Dragon, when they first arrive on the island, there's this huge opulent party scene. And in this version, it's a flamethrowers of dwarves. About the comparison is distinctive.
I know what I prefer.
Oh yeah. And even so far as they do the whole thing, so basically there's also a stand-in. They're not in it much, but you've got a bog standard John Saxon and Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
And they've dubbed in the Jim Kelly to speak slight Ebonics, right?
Yeah. That's bad.
It did make me laugh. At least he has a bit of character. The John Saxon white guy standing has nothing.
No. Well, he's the same one that gets caught and tortured, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the one who tries to run away and gets hit by dogs.
That's it. Yeah.
So it turns out that the one thing slightly different from Enter the Dragon, although you don't, and again, it's most dangerous game, is that the people who win this martial arts tournament basically end up stuffed and mounted in von Stoffler's private collection.
Yeah. Just a question.
Yeah.
I didn't see any stuffed and mounted people in the version that I watched of this.
Right. No, I think
it was just reported.
Yes, I think it's you don't see anything. You see someone mention it. Yeah, no, so we should mention that as well then. So did you watch the 95-minute version?
Oh shit, I didn't actually make a note of the runtime. It wasn't on the Wu-Tang collection. It was the other.
Okay.
Oh no, tell a lie. Sorry. Yes, this one was on the Wu-Tang collection, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's two of them on Wu-Tang collection. One is 84 minutes, one is 95.
No, I feel like I watched the 84-minute one.
And I couldn't tell what, because again, we mentioned this. So usually with Wu-Tang collection, if they put up a shorter version, there's a reason it'll be of better quality or in widescreen or something. And it was put up after the 95-minute version was put up first. As far as I could tell, I couldn't tell why, because the quality is the same. They're both not in widescreen. So I'm not quite sure, but I did compare and I'm not sure what if the 84-minute version is just it's some kind of random error, or if it was a cut for a different market, but there's one section missing. It's about a 5-minute section. It's some tournament fighting stuff.
Okay.
And someone gets a pole poked in the groin. But even in the full version, there's like a splice. You can tell they take out the contact hit the pole into the groin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that bit at all.
And then later on, there's another 4-minute section where, you know, there's the servant character who's the, oh, actually, you might not know this because, so the I think Evangeline Pascal's character, her brother is also on the island, and he's one of the servants. And there's basically there's a flashback explaining how they got recruited at this fashion show.
Yeah, that's in there.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, or they watched the 95-minute version.
No. There's basically some footage of Evangeline just getting bundled into a car from some sort of event.
Oh yeah, well, so before that, you get the actual fashion show well, in the full version.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is funny because there's no, you know, like in a fashion, normally you have like a runway, you know.
Yeah.
All that, but this one is it's just like a stage, like you'd have a school play on. People sitting in front of it, and some people come on and spin around in their jackets.
Yeah. So so there's lots of games there. There's lots of tournament stuff in it, to be fair.
Which is not,
you know,
interesting, really, is it?
But it's not very good tournament stuff.
No.
You know, he fights a kind of Japanese bloke with a samurai sword with some nunchucks. None of the action's that good, really.
No, it's okay for what it is, but it's just, it's not.
It's all right, it's fine. But then again, I mean, there's a knife fight.
I mean, Enter the Dragon, in terms of, Enter the Dragon does have some good fight stuff in it, and the whole thing is obviously it's more of a kind of a James Bond kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
But the tournament stuff in Enter the Dragon isn't exactly like, that's not what you remember for, is it?
No.
Only when all
you know, I mean,
someone, but
yeah. And you've got the whole kind of, you know, Bruce jumping on someone and then snapping their neck with his feet and all that stuff. Which is kind of emulated in this, actually.
Yes. But you know, the day-to-day tournamenty stuff, that I don't really remember much of that from Enter the Dragon.
No, but it's a bit more lavish, isn't it? That's the thing. Is in Enter the Dragon, it's a bit more spectacle, where if you're lucky, you might get some flags and a tent.
Right.
Or if you're unlucky, it's just in the forest. Yeah. It's just some people with 20 people around them fighting in a forest.
Although, to be fair, I feel slightly protective of, I don't want to pick on the Game of Death for its low budget. Because
no,
for what it is, a scrappy little kind of copy of Enter the Dragon, it's reasonably entertaining. I mean, it's all
right. I can get behind it.
It probably is too long at 95 minutes. But you know, it's all right.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, there is something about Colonel von, what's he called? Colonel von Stoffenheimer or whatever the hell he's called. Yeah. There's something about an obviously Filipino man in a blonde wig with like a bronze headband and some robes, shouting and screaming like a cult leader dictator with a crossbow chasing people, dangerous game style through a forest. I can watch that all day.
Yeah, it does have a certain appeal. I should mention as well that I mean, I've seen Eddie Garcia in some of the films, and in general, I'm used to him having this big fuck off mustache, and he does actually look quite different. Like, I wasn't even sure if it was Eddie. I had to double check. I thought it might be someone else, but but it is Eddie Garcia, looking different from what you might normally.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird actually, because he brings, I think it's the weirdness, the weirdness of his appearance and his performance somehow brings actually a decent amount of menace to the role, if you think about it.
No, I'm. If you're gonna,
because he can't fight like Han, can he? All he's got is a fucking crossbow and an attitude.
If you're comparing the two on different elements, I mean, obviously, in other ways, this is let down. It's not up to Enter the Dragon. But just in terms of, like, charisma, villainous charisma, I'd say Eddie Garcia brings it as well as Second does, almost, just without the fight. The fight.
That's almost sacrilege.
I know, but Eddie Garcia's pretty good.
I get but he's doing a good job. He is doing a good job. Yeah.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I really did half it. If it hadn't been made in 1973, I half expected them to break out the Kool-Aid in the last reel of this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Especially Ivan Asimov's version of Jim Jones in Eton, I think is what I
Yes. Yeah. So there's something, obviously something in the air in 1973. But yeah, there are lots of chases through the forest. There are lots of encounters. None of the fights are particularly exciting, really.
No.
And you've got this kind of Dirty Harry style standoff, haven't you? Between
Panchito and
Elvis henchman, and you had 6 bullets in your gun. I counted 6 bullets. No, I didn't. Doesn't quite say, do you feel lucky, punk, or whatever the Dirty Harry line is, but and that's kind of a standoff. And then, lots of crossbow shit. Nearly all the girls die. Nearly everyone dies towards the end.
I think only one
girl, crossbow.
Only one girl dies. You don't most of them get away in the boat?
No, a lot. No, a few girls get crossbowed.
That's always good.
Yeah. And then they get in the boat. You get a nice bit of theme tune.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy.
And again, I have to, when the theme came up at the end, I was happy to hear it again.
I'm rating the theme tune.
Yeah.
I am rating the theme tune.
I know, it's definitely one of the best things about the film, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny actually, because when I heard the theme tune the first time, I thought, well, this is where the kind of Love Boat thing came, because there's something of the lounge music, the lounge lizard about the Game of Death,
right?
Theme music, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's something of the Burt Bacharach kind of lounge music about that.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's a bit weird to have.
It's towards the good end of that kind of thing, isn't it?
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, it works the treat. And actually, the kind of incidental music is, although it's literally someone on a Hammond organ and with, some sound effect stuff, actually, soundtrack-wise,
it's fine.
It works a treat. It actually builds a bit of tension.
Yeah, it's not Lalo Schifrin, but it's, No, it's all right.
Yeah.
Well,
so would we recommend? Would we recommend people to go and check out The Game of Death?
Well, consider of the Ramon Zamora films I've seen, which is only a handful, I would say if you were kind of interested in Ramon Zamora, I'd say this is probably a starting point as any.
Yeah,
and it's got the added little frisson of, seeing, there's a lot of Enter the Dragon rip-offs out there, but I think there's few quite as carbon copy as this one. This is pretty...
Well, they've got the same uniforms, haven't they? He's gone and they've gone and studied those uniforms that not the guards, but the contestants wear in Enter the Dragon.
And they
have duplicated it.
He's got his harem and the guests pick out, I'll have you.
Yeah.
And, all that. Yeah.
And there's a dungeon that he has to go and rescue people from. Yeah.
So I quite like the fact that there's something oddly, like they went the distance to copy it properly, as well as they...
good effort. Good effort.
Yeah.
Studying Enter the Dragon.
Yeah. Because, there wouldn't have been a video, so they went to the cinema a lot.
Yeah, good point.
They might have spent more than the budget wait to see it Enter the Dragon over and over again.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's worth it. It's worth a look. I think it's certainly worth a look for Lear-like completists, because if you like the Lear-likes and you haven't seen this, you have to see it. As do you the next one, because it's a proper Lear-like film. And all I can come back to is, I've got a reasonable amount of goodwill towards it, and it for me it is as if Al Adamson decided to go and do an Enter the Dragon ripoff.
Yeah. What's interesting as well, you mentioned the Lear-like thing, because I think that's the thing. It is one that people might overlook just because Ramon Zamora never changed his name to Ramon Lee. You might not think of it in the Lear-like canon, right? But it is most definitely.
Yeah. No, this is in that mix with Bruce Lair, Bruce Lee, Dragon Lee. Yeah, it's in that conversation. Yeah.
Forgive me, Darren. I just have to bugger off just for a few minutes to check something, but I shall return.
That's fine. So do I. Mainly my penis and the toilet.
Fair enough.
So we're gonna have to do another. Maybe we can stitch some Game of Death music into this one.
Here we go. There, enjoy the Game of Death while we enjoy the Game of Piss.
Game of Piss. Yes, that's Game of Piss. Well, we'll leave it hang.
Here's a helping hand. Helping hand. Listen to her, 'cause you just can't tell. I just might be your friend. Your friend. I know you're a great fighter, but I'm here to make your life brighter. You're on your way to face a man to mighty well. So beware of the Game of Death. So beware of the Game of Death. Yourself now, 'cause you're just in time to find all about the game you play. It's not an ordinary game. You'll find that on your way. Your way. I know you're a great fighter, but I'm here to make your life brighter.
You'll soon meet the owner of this island. This moment is expecting our arrival.
They call him CHOP-SUEY. From the following year, which is Ramon Zamora doing Bruce Lee again, and this time,
yeah,
it's basically Way of the Dragon, isn't it? This time,
well, they've even got the same fucking tablecloths in the opening sequence, which actually is one of my favourite bits of the film, because the film opens at, you know, a restaurant, just like the restaurant in Italy in Way of the Dragon. And it just goes straight into a gangster fight, you know, a gangster shaking the restaurant down, and Ramon kicks all their asses.
Yeah.
Except he does it to a live band who are playing some funky music.
I quite like this bit.
Yeah.
It turns out to be a dream sequence, right? And he's daydreaming, and he comes to it. He's strangling a chicken, not choking his chicken euphemistically. I mean, literally choking a proper chicken.
Yeah. Yes.
But it was it's funny that this turned out to be a dream sequence, because when it begins, you're not quite sure, and I was wondering, because it made me laugh, because he's there in the nightclub, and he sits down, and there's 3 different waiters around him.
Yeah. And
they all scribbled out something that he's on, and he doesn't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, hang on now. This is a bit odd. But then the fact that it turns out to be a dream is fine, because it's dream logic. Right?
That works, that's fine.
Yeah. But it did make me laugh at first that there was three whole waiters scribbling down, and he didn't even say it. Anyway.
It was the live band that got me, but yeah.
yeah.
It reminded me of that sequence. Reminded me of that sequence where Antonio Fargas,
right,
in I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, is in his pimp outfit and walking down 1970s Detroit or whatever it is, with a goldfish in his shoes.
Yeah.
And he's got a band accompanying him with funky music.
Right.
Yeah. It just reminded me of that. Yeah.
So
anyway.
So just to sort this out, so because they don't spell it out, but am I correct in thinking, so basically this works, he works at a restaurant, he's a daydreamer, he daydreams about Bruce Lee, although that's something that they kind of, that goes by the wayside a little bit. I thought that would reoccur through that whole film, a bit like in No Retreat, No Surrender, you know, like the ghost of Bruce Lee would, or he'd think about Bruce Lee, because you do get non-copyright compliant, I'm guessing, flashes of like images of Bruce Lee, right? No film footage, but you get
but whether this is accident or design, you know, they're posters of Bruce Lee.
Yes.
Aren't they? So they're not images of Bruce Lee. They're footage of posters of Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I suppose,
which presumably are hanging on his bedroom.
Right. But didn't you think that that would be more of a thing? Like later on, like he'd be in a bit of a spot, and then he'd think about the Bruce Lee, and then, but he gives up the whole I want to be Bruce Lee thing, kind of is gone after about 10 minutes or something.
Just that sequence, really. Yeah.
But it does seem like a setup.
Also, interesting point. You know, this predates Enter the Fat Dragon by 3 years. Which most people would say is the first time they would have seen that on film. A Bruce Lee alike, idolizing Bruce Lee, kicking ass as Bruce Lee.
Oh, that's a good point.
Just saying. Yeah.
So the setup is that he's working with his grandfather, and the grandfather dies, and he has to go to his auntie's work in Chinatown restaurant, right? But just to get the not the geology, the geography of this.
So it's mostly granite. Volcanic granite.
Bit of quartz
in Manila.
Bit of limestone.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
But just to get the geography, because they don't specifically mention it, but the way I figured it is he's in Hong Kong at the beginning of the film. He's Chinese Filipino. That's why he's called CHOP-SUEY, right? Because apparently CHOP-SUEY mix.
Yeah.
So that is officially his name. And his mother ate lots of CHOP-SUEY when she was pregnant with him.
Yeah, that's it.
So
he's got a really good CHOP-SUEY recipe.
Yes, he does, yeah. But
yeah,
just to get this straight, so he goes from Hong Kong. Does he go to, is his auntie's restaurant in Chinatown in Manila? Is that where he goes? I'm guessing that's where.
Well, see, I didn't clock that he's meant to be in Hong Kong at the start. I presumed he was in some hick town in the Philippines.
Well,
in
I
a restaurant.
think there's a brief,
and then he goes to the big city.
There's a brief shot of a boat leaving Hong Kong Harbour, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I
hadn't clocked that. Yeah, you're probably right.
It could have been arriving or leaving, but I don't think he goes to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
Hong Kong
throughout the whole
doesn't have a Chinatown, right?
No.
It would be slightly redundant.
And to be fair, throughout the whole film, you know, when other people are talking about CHOP-SUEY, they're talking about that Chinese fella.
Right, yes.
As opposed to that Filipino fella.
Yeah, or that bloke from that pumpkin from the sticks or something.
Yeah. So they always refer to him as Chinese. So,
right.
Yeah, it probably makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And bringing with him is this amazing CHOP-SUEY restaurant, a recipe that seems to also work a bit like Viagra.
Yeah, it's something of an aphrodisiac, isn't it?
Because our comic relief gurning fellow, Pugak, who I'm sure we both
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him.
He gets quite turned on after eating some CHOP-SUEY and makes moves on Auntie before she smacks him down pretty soon. They're like, get the fuck out, you gurning.
Yeah. So it's the Karl Macker of the Philippines.
Well, his introduction is actually quite funny. Genuinely funny, I thought, because Ramon Zamora's character smacks a door in his face, and he assumes that he's disfigured him because he's got a burning face, and he actually puts his hand there, tries to sort out his face, and he's like, "Oh, sorry about that." That was quite funny.
That was good.
And I half expected.
By the way,
Papa Mao Mao, Papa Mama.
Yeah. By the way, don't ask me why I looked into this.
Right.
But apparently, Pugak.
Yes.
We're probably murdering the pronunciation, but Pugak, who's the name of the actor.
Yeah.
That name apparently means beep beep.
Oh, does it?
Beep beep.
I thought it meant like pug, like as is in it, like pug face.
No.
Beep beep.
No, I looked into it today.
Okay. All right.
And apparently it means either honk, like honking a horn,
right,
or beep beep.
Beep beep. Oh, okay, interesting.
So it's basically, so you know, it's like, you know, he's basically the tweaky to the Buck Rogers that is Ramon Zamora.
Much less annoying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I had fun with Pugak.
Well, I'm just wondering if in the Tagalog dub, does Roadrunner go Pugak?
Probably did.
We'll have to look it up. I wonder if there's any Tagalog dubs of Roadrunner on YouTube.
Let's look into it.
Yes. See, we know how to spend our leisure time looking into the.
We do it for you, listeners.
Yeah.
We do it for you, viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do this.
But you don't have to put in all those hard researching hours.
That's it. That 15 minutes that I spent researching this film was blood, sweat, and tears, I tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, so there's some gangsters kicking about, isn't there? There's some gangsters kicking about, you know, the new restaurant he goes to work at.
Yeah, they're like protection, same as the Dragon, they're protection racket.
Yeah. And I do like the gangster, actually. I do like the character. What's he called? Johnson or something, isn't it? Jackson, that's it.
As played by Rivera.
Yeah. And he's proper evil.
Yeah, well, he's a he's running as well, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. So he's a rapist, sexual sadist. Quite likes getting handsy with blind girls.
Mm-hmm.
And general rotter, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, he is. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No, I don't often. The only times you ever hear rotter are in Dan Dare comics, and that weirdly when the Sex Pistols were on Bill Grundy, right?
That's it.
Steve
You're a
Jones,
rotter.
what a fucking rotter, which is a pretty weird anachronism.
Yeah. Well, I also think about Terry Thomas when I say rotter as well. So that would be that sort of. And what's that from another podcast? I apologize. What's that schoolboy? A schoolboy one we did in. You know the one I'm talking about. The old man schoolboy.
In the Bodies Beneath.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes. Saint something.
But yeah, referred to literally as feck Bodies Beneath for other reference.
Yes.
But anyway. So he's generally a bad guy, and he wants to try and get Ramon Zamora's character CHOP-SUEY to work for him. Because he finds out that he's hard because Ramon Zamora kicks the shit out of all the gangsters that Jackson sends against the restaurant. And, simultaneously he's running like a sex trafficking ring, isn't he? He's kidnapping girls and having his way with them and sending them out to do various things. But he's also got this kind of sidekick, double agent kind of girlfriend, Jenny.
Right.
Quite an interesting character, actually.
Well, so this is the Malaysian love interest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jennifer Kaur. Yeah.
Who was in the 1975 Pontianak, which we talked about many moons ago on
was she?
Not in Shawscope, yeah.
Oh.
So I think she is genuinely Malaysian. So
yeah, she must be.
In 1975, she was someone you might have, I don't know if she was a model or,
Yeah.
But Jennifer Kaur obviously was enough of a name that, she was in Pontianak, and then Ramon Zamora, or whoever thought, oh, we'll have her in my upcoming CHOP-SUEY film. Because there's kind of two. So the blind girl, as well as played by Evalinda, he's kind of, they split the love interest between the two of them a little bit. It was a little bit odd.
Well, it's mainly Jenny, though, isn't it? It's kind of That seemed like kind of an afterthought.
She's hotter.
Because Jenny, well, yeah, but the blind girl kind of falls in love with him
more than,
and then it's
Well, she can't say what he looks like.
And he seems to be like saying, "Oh yeah, well, I love you too.
Yeah,
just leave me alone," sort of thing.
They should have had her falling in love with Black.
Yeah, that would have made a lot of sense. But then, that's kind of like, Pugak, baldy, gurning comic relief can only get a blind girl. It's a bit obvious, I suppose, isn't it?
Works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it's what I would expect from a film called They Call Him CHOP-SUEY. I mean,
well, exactly. So he almost immediately Ramon Zamora is rescuing people from Jackson's operation, and Jenny's like feeding information from Jackson's operation to various agencies, including Ramon Zamora. And at some point there's like, it becomes like almost like a road movie, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's like they've escaped, and they've escaped with the and they're on the run, and they've like got these documents, because apparently Jackson is part of this international kind of this international crime syndicate.
Right.
But he's got all the documents that would incriminate them, so they nick the documents and they go on the run, so everyone's chasing them. And then there's probably this 20-minute segment where they're just on the run, just like hitchhiking and walking through the forest.
To kill a snake.
Yes, they do. Yeah, big knife in a snake. Yeah.
Actually, sorry,
and
before they go on the run, it was worth mentioning things escalate very, very quickly. So there's, if you remember, there's like, there's a bit of the protection racket stuff. I beat up a couple of your guys. Oh, where's all our business gone? Our restaurants aren't. Oh, they're all over there because his CHOP-SUEY.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that bit. Yeah.
And all right, we want to get the CHOP-SUEY. And then they drive a fucking car through the window and crush Auntie. I thought, wow,
yes.
that's they really upped the ante on that.
Yeah,
quite quickly.
Yeah, they went fucking hardcore really quickly, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, here we go.
And
There's a bit of tit for tat. This is going to take a while,
Yeah.
but not.
Yeah. And it's quite nasty as well, because it's like she's blood coming out of her mouth. There's a blood splatter up the wall. There's a car in her.
There's a car in there, yeah. Patria Plata.
Not in a good way.
No, well, yeah, no, not in a Titan kind of way.
No.
So, yeah, so I thought that was worth mentioning. But I suppose the main, things play out as you may. I suppose the main difference, where they, in the same way as Enter the Dragon turns into Most Dangerous Game, this doesn't go. You don't. I was expecting the Chuck Norris surrogate to turn up, and they'd have the equivalent of the Colosseum fight. But that doesn't really happen here, does it?
No, it just turns into kind of a Filipino shootout in the jungle, really, doesn't it?
Well, it's interesting. In the same way as whatever. Yeah, that last bit is like and to be fair, I thought that was the best bit of the film. The bit where
a lot of money went into that.
The bit when they're running around in the jungle and he's made a makeshift bow and arrow. It's very proto First Blood kind of thing, right? It's like,
well, yeah, but it's not quite First Blood though, because he's making because at the end he makes a bow and arrow out of his flute. Because at some point when they're wandering, in the road movie bit, he plays the flute for a minute, and then he's got this flute in like a holster on his back, and then he turns his flute into a bow and arrow that uses to shoot the gangsters that are coming after him, and then he turns it into a pair of nunchucks, which I thought was quite neat, actually.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, and he shoots one right in the eye as well, doesn't he?
Oh no, that's a different thing. He's got one of those fans that's got a dart in it. Yeah, so there's some gadget stuff in this as well.
And I quite like the fact that it goes it's got that very Treasure of the Sierra Madre kind of ending where all the documents end up in a swamp anyway, and shrugs. And so I thought that, to be honest, the rest of the film wasn't really doing it for me, and for me it picked up in that last bit that wasn't a Way of the Dragon rip-off anymore. That was the best bit for me. A little bit too little too late really to save the film overall, I would say. I don't know how you felt about it.
No, I agree,
but it was like, oh, this is kind of this is fun. It's only
I mean
15 minutes.
I mean, but the jungle stuff. So there's this whole kind of road movie stuff, and Pugak's always wants a piss, and he's always hungry, and also
Pugak, yeah.
Also, there's some good wet t-shirt action.
There is,
in this as well.
Yes.
So they all have the girls have a bath in the waterfall in white t-shirts, and you see it all.
Yeah,
through the t-shirt.
she gets her Pontianacs out.
Yeah, well, they both do.
They do, yeah.
I didn't quite know how to feel about that. Because she's a very vulnerable character, but she seemed to be having fun. So I did.
Yeah,
I had fun. Yeah. So yeah.
Ask it for it, Darren. Can't get for it.
Yeah. She dies before the end. Yeah, she gets shot. The other thing, I mean, we're talking about comparing the two films, considering that there's only a year between them, really, is this one feels funnier. So there's a lot more laughs in this. So it's played a lot more for laughs. Well, generally speaking, the game of death is played pretty strict.
But then again, the template is funnier, right? As in Enter the Dragon isn't a comedy, Where the Dragon is.
Absolutely.
People have told me over the years a comedy, but I still don't believe them. But it's apparently it's a comedy, right? Way of the Dragon.
Yeah. There are some comic moments in Enter the Dragon. Sorry, in Way of the Dragon.
Yeah, so sacrilege.
No, but there are comic moments in Enter the Dragon, in Way of the Dragon, sorry.
Right.
There are no comic moments in Enter the Dragon. So
No, that's what I mean. So Game of the Earth is just following its lead.
See, converted you.
And it's just it's less energy. Game of the Earth is quite, energy intensive.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're both just following the leads of whatever they're copying, right? Is my point.
Yeah, but this one's playful. But the other thing, when we're talking about comparing the two a year apart, the other thing that I noticed in this is going for the gore as well.
A little bit, yeah.
There's people getting shot in the eye. There's some kind of people get shot in the side, and there's some heroic bloodshed bullet. What you call those bloody things that go off? Squibs, that's it. There's some squibs go off on quite a few people, actually. And then there's this whole jungle shootout where there's probably 20 or 30 people on each side all getting shot. There's a helicopter. There's army vehicles being driven about the place.
I think the thing is, I think the reason that works better is I think if you think of the fun Filipino action films of this era, like we said, when you're, if you need falls, from high places, stunts, explosions, things like that, that's something that the Filipinos did really well. So I feel as if this final section is kind of playing to their strengths a little more than the Way of Dragon copy stuff earlier on. It's like, we know how to do this jungle action stuff. We can do this in our sleep. It works out better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Also, spoilers, but also our main villain, after getting shot in the eye with a fan dart, dies by quicksand.
Always good to see.
And we have to always celebrate
we do.
Any death by quicksand.
I was talking to my missus about this the other day. There's three things that you just don't see anymore, which seem to be in every single thing you watched when you were a kid. Quicksand. Yeah. Rattlesnake. And someone pulling up alongside you in a car, and that spinning disc thing would come out. Yeah. Just don't see that anymore.
No,
I don't think even the last Mad Max film had one of those. I might be remembering wrong, but I don't think it had. Did it have one of those spinning disc things coming out of the hub?
No, I don't think it did. What, you mean Fury Road?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think they had spikes on the wheels, but I think it was
implied. Of course, they had spikes on the wheels. Rather than the Mad Max film. As we know,
post-apocalyptic fiction.
When the energy crisis happens, we're all getting Mohicans and tricking out the cars with spikes. Everyone knows that.
I'm gonna sit on the shoulder of a giant.
Yeah. Also, I was looking up so we've got Way of the Dragon, we've got Enter the Dragon. So there is a film, the earlier Zamora film, entitled The Radical Boxer Challenges the Big Boss. So I'm wondering if that's the Big Boss ripoff.
Okay.
Or if it's not, or if it's actually, one-arm boxer or something, or
or it could be just him dressed up as Hitler.
Well,
doing some comedy.
I would love to see.
Hitler Lee.
Kugak as
pulling some shapes.
Yeah,
that's it. Oh yeah.
Oh no, Kugak could be Hirohito or something like that.
He could be
Hirohito.
Hirohito.
Yeah.
Well, Goebbels, surely.
or it could be Goebbels. I mean, the possibilities end.
All he needs is a pair of glasses.
Pugak's got the range, right? Because basically it's just going to be someone with a funny face, no matter who he does, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
I would like to see more Pugak films, I have to say.
I'm interested in Pugak, yes, definitely.
If
so yeah, I mean, I suppose
Pugak recommendations they want to send us.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah, give us it all.
Yeah.
Or any YouTube footage or internet footage of their comedy stuff.
Yeah, or
I imagine they worked together before.
Yeah, or if you know of any more appearances of Jennifer Cowers Pontianacs, let us know.
Yes.
We're always up for anything like that.
Yeah. So I mean, in conclusion, I suppose, you know, if we're done, unless you've got anything else on either of the two films.
We have milked this, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We should mention both films directed by the same fellow, Juan Gallardo. We did forget to mention that.
Yeah. Oh, and action by Ramon Zamora as well.
Yes, Game of Death. This one as well? I wasn't sure. I didn't...
did I write it down? Hang on.
Definitely Game of Death did.
Yeah, I didn't write it down on this one, but I know he did the action of Game of Death.
Yes, I suspect he might have done here.
Yeah. And, you know, considering it's a comedian with presumably no martial arts or opera-style training, he's not done a bad job, really, to be fair to him.
I reckon at some point he, maybe not traditional, but I reckon he must have, you know, done, because I think he did start as well. I think he was a stuntman as well as a dancer.
Oh, he was a dancer?
Yeah.
Oh, he may have been a stuntman. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I think I read stage actor, stuntman, dancer, and then he went into television. And that the way I understand it is so apparently there's a very famous Filipino comic book hero character called Pedro Penduko. And there's a whole bunch of Pedro Penduko films. And I think one of his early, maybe the film that made him a film star was, I think he was in an adaptation of, or maybe two of them, of a Pedro, they were like the Marvel films of their day.
Yeah.
I think that's what made him a star, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see those films now.
I looked, but I couldn't find the Pedro. I could find there's some later Pedro Penduko films from the 90s where someone else plays it.
Yeah.
Thereabout, but I couldn't find his 70s. But
I think
I'm with you. I'd
probably less Marvel, more Adam West Batman, surely.
Yes, you're probably onto something.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, I think we had a good time.
Oh yeah.
With
certainly
Ramon
didn't
Zamora.
mind watching either of these.
No, I mean, I think it's worth saying that if you're a kung fu head, you know, and you want to see some mad shapes, this is not for you.
No, look elsewhere, I think.
No.
Yeah.
If you're a Lear-like completist, definitely for you.
Yes, at least give one of them a go.
Yeah. Probably. My favorite of the two is CHOP-SUEY, I have to say, just because there's a bit more spice in it.
I mean, and neither of them are really peaking over the other film. I mean, I think I just had my objective film critic hat on. I think Game of Death is probably overall a better film, maybe. But yeah, in terms of like enjoyment, they're about the same, really, aren't they?
Yeah. Also, the name just escaped me. Call Me CHOP-SUEY. Sorry.
Yes.
They Call Me CHOP-SUEY also had a good soundtrack, I thought. Really basic kind of organ drum soundtrack, but actually worked on comedy beats and tension beats.
Right. Right. Yeah, I can't say it jumped out at me. I was distracted. I was just looking up my review of the only other Zamora film I've seen, Revenge of the Dragon. Because I couldn't remember what I thought of it. And again, seems to be kind of an interesting deviation, but nothing special, maybe.
No, I think in all honesty, I think these films are for, if you're not a film critic, these films are, I've got a couple of hours spare on a Sunday afternoon. I've got a bit of a hangover and I just want to lie on the sofa and watch something. These are ideal. These are kind of, they're just kind of, just getting to the vibe of it. You don't have to worry about concentrating on anything, and you might see some gore in one of them, and you might see some bizarreness, and get off on the Colonel's funny headband.
Might see some Pontianacs.
Yeah, in the second one.
A couple of Pontianacs. Have a bowl of CHOP-SUEY, maybe, while watching.
Well, there you go.
Comfort.
Yeah, that'll help you. That'll help you when it comes to the Pontianak.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll be able to do something with it. Yeah. So you can also mention that CHOP-SUEY kind of got a sequel of sorts. I don't think it's a proper sequel other than just using the name. But there was a film, CHOP-SUEY meets Big Time Papa, which is notable because it was Ramon, Zamora and Weng.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No. Is it extant? Ooh. Is it about?
Don't know.
I would like to see CHOP-SUEY
before we came on air. We were having a chat a few hours ago while we were preparing for the podcast, and I said to Clive before we came on air, actually, I kind of regret not putting a third in the double bill and making it a triple bill. Right. And that was the film. If we had more time, that was the film I was going to seek out and fund.
Yeah, no, if it was available, so
it must be somewhere.
I don't know,
because I think
a lot of Philippine stuff from this era is just gone amazingly. It is just disappeared off.
But also I think the fact that Weng is in it, I think means that there are a lot more people interested in it than people interested in Filipino films.
There's people looking for it for sure.
There's
yeah.
But
I don't know the status of it, but I said, to be fair, even if I'd never heard of Weng, Ramon Zamora, I would have wanted to see a film called CHOP-SUEY meets Big Time Papa. I would have wanted to see that when I was 5 years old, I would imagine.
And it's gone 40 years.
Yeah, and I still haven't seen the damn thing. So hopefully, before they put me in the ground, I might get a chance. Some people want to do things like climb Everest, and not me. I want to see CHOP-SUEY meets Big Time Papa, and I'm good then. I shall go.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. And when you get there to the pearly gates, he'll turn round. It'll turn out, it's Pugak, and you open the pearly gates in his face.
No, it's Weng in his white suit, isn't it?
And Pugak. Because Pugak is his henchman, and you open the gate in his face, and then you go, sorry, and you try and rearrange his face because you don't realize it's just him being ugly.
Well, hang on, you can't have two without having three. It has to be a trinity.
Right.
If you're going to meet the maker,
Pugak.
So it's Weng, Pugak, Little Man.
That's two little men. That's two little men.
Yeah, but they're the bottom of the triangle, so
we'll give it some thought and we'll get back to you. Yes.
If you've got any thoughts on this, please do write to us.
Yes. Self-addressed stamped envelope.
Yeah.
Address it to
To the Indonesian, not the Indonesian, the Filipino consulate, London, UK.
There we go. It'll get to you. Darren, courtesy of Philippines. That'd be brilliant if you actually get a piece of mail. Right. I think we should go now, Darren. We've outstayed our welcome. Very long time.
We have. Yeah.
Thank you, by the way, Mr. Chris Evans, for
thank you, Chris.
Time out from hosting the big breakfast and being Captain Marvel or Captain Pugak.
Captain America.
That's
it.
To request, because to be fair, we probably wouldn't have got to these two otherwise. And actually, I'm genuinely glad we did. So that's a genuine heartfelt thanks. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Right. Cheery bye.
Ta-da!